as I said, and I want to say it again, I cherish very much this moment. It has become eternal to me, and it is a great happiness for all of us to be here tonight with this great master and with all of you. And this book has served as a condition, a wonderful condition for us to be here tonight together. For me, to be alive, to be still alive, and to be sitting together in peace like this is the best thing we can get. And if we know how to nourish the wonderful moment, the present wonderful moment, and then we'll be able to bring a lot of joy to ourselves and to the people around us. Complete enlightenment is already there within each of us. And if we know how to breathe in and out mindfully and touch the seed of peace and love within us, complete enlightenment will reveal itself without us making any effort. I think many of the books have been signed by the master and myself. So if you get one tonight, you'll be sure that you have the signatures in them.
Hello and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and we're very glad that you're joining us again today. Today we are very pleased to have with us Thich Nhat Hanh at the Ch'an Center in Elmhurst, New York, where we have just been part of a major celebration to honor the book, Complete Enlightenment, that ShengYen, Master Sheng-Yen, has just completed, and Thich Nhat Hanh has been kind enough to write the foreword to. So we've been all here having a very good time honoring this wonderful work that is the fruit of over 15 years of work and lectures and editing. And so Thich Nhat Hanh has been kind enough to speak with us for a few minutes about his work and what his life is about at this point in time. Thank you so much for being on the show. So what is it that inspired you, if you could just say, to come here this evening and share these wonderful festivities and honor this particular book and this particular master the way you have?
Well, my friendship with Master Sheng-Yen is the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I visited him in his temple, at his temple in Taipei.
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed about spirituality, environment, and subjects like that.
Sure.
And I felt that he's a brother on the path. And I was very glad to write the foreword for his book.
I see.
In Vietnam, we also we are very fond of this sutra.
I see.
And I think this will be an important contribution to Buddhist literature, and it would help many people.
Beautiful.
And tonight, I was very happy to be with the master.
Yes.
And to be
We
with
all
with you all.
Yes, indeed. That's very good. That's very good. You are well known for your extraordinary work with helping to create peace and not taking no for an answer, and in a sense activating Buddhism, bringing it to the people and bringing it to the street, so to speak, not just the monastic life, not just an inner spiritual discipline, but in action. Could you tell us a little bit about your work and where it is right now, what you're doing?
My work, my practice. As a monk, you have to practice in order to be a true monk.
Yes.
And the practice is has very much to do with being peace, so that you can so that you could help other people to be more peaceful, to suffer less.
Mm-hmm.
And the base of the practice, the base of the action is your own practice.
Yes.
And sharing the practice, you can call it the work, but sharing practice can be very joyful.
Yes.
Can be very rewarding. People suffer everywhere, and if you are able to understand the nature of the suffering, you can help them to look into the nature of that suffering, to see the way out, and to abide by the principle of the practice, so that they can begin to end the suffering and to begin experiencing the joy, the peace that is already there within themselves. The practice is to touch peace, to cultivate peace, and to transform the suffering that is there.
Yeah. Now tonight we spoke of enjoyment, and you spoke of the importance of enjoying every moment and being awake in every moment. There are different kinds of enjoyment that we see. There are the kind of enjoyment that we discuss in the East, and the kinds of enjoyment we speak often materially about in the West. Could you just make a comment about how you discriminate between the different kinds of enjoyment?
The wonders of life are there, and if we are able to touch them, to realize that they are there very real, then we'll be able to enjoy every moment of our daily life. If we continue to run after the objects of our craving, of our anger, of our frustration, we will continue to suffer. But if we are able to go back to the present moment with our mind and body together, we have a chance to touch life deeply in the present moment with all its wonder. You are alive. That is, you are still alive. That is a miracle.
Yes,
you still have eyes in good condition. You can see the blue sky, the cherry blossoms, the faces of the people you love. You are still able to breathe in and out. You are still able to walk peacefully on this beautiful planet. All these are wonders of life that you can touch if you know how to go back to the present moment. And the practice I share is to help people to go back to the present moment in order to touch the conditions of happiness that are already there. And once they are able to recognize them, they can be happy right away. They don't have to run after the objects of their craving, because they have done it for a long time and they have not got happiness.
Yes. Right. In other words, the happiness is right here in finding Buddha nature. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you very much. And I also want to thank you, Thich Nhat Hanh, for all of the fantastic work that you have done, the contributions that you are making to the world in terms of your practice and the way you share that with the world and creating peace by being peace everywhere you go. Thank you again. And now we have the distinct pleasure and honor of speaking with the gentleman, the master, who is the author of this wonderful book, Complete Enlightenment, based on one of the sutras of the Buddha. ShengYen, thanks so much for being on the show with us.
Me too.
A pleasure, truly. This has been a great evening of celebration and honoring you and Thich Nhat Hanh for this great work.
Because you are here.
Because I'm here. 谢谢. Thank you very much. You are very kind. Just tell us a little bit about what is in your book, which I have not had a chance yet to read, but will be as soon as I get back.
Okay, I speak in Chinese.
Okay.
这本书里边呢是讲的这个如何成佛，一共有12位菩萨在问成佛是怎么成的。那么释迦牟尼佛回答他们成佛啊，应该啊把这个幻觉的世界，看成知道是幻觉的世界，这就会成佛。
In essence, this scripture talks about how to accomplish the state of Buddhahood. This sutra or this scripture consists of 12 different enlightened beings questioning, posing questions, inquiring into the nature of Buddhahood, how to do that to the Buddha. So the Buddha replies them, each one different stages in extreme clarity of how to accomplish Buddhahood and the meaning of Buddhahood. And in essence, it is to understand the illusory nature of the world. Once a person can understand and experience directly the transient nature of the world, then it makes a beginning step to accomplishing Buddhahood.
其实这个世界啊，并没有什么幻觉或者是不是幻觉的问题，而就是人如果是心中有困扰、有烦恼，自我中心太强，很少有为他人设想。如果是这个样子的话呢，就是自私心很重，那就看不到这个世界的真实。如果把自私的心减少，慈悲的心增加，那智慧的心就出现，那这个世界本来就是真实的。
But when we speak about the illusory nature of the world, in fact, the world is not an issue of whether the world is illusory or not illusory. It's just that people's minds may be filled with greed, hatred, aversion, jealousy, ignorance, and selfish, self-cherishing,
Confusion.
Yes. And because of this, the perceptions of people change, and their actions change, and the world becomes illusory, and much harm can be done to the world. But if a person can be free from such negative states of mind, then the world itself is reality. That person will be living fully out his life or her life in reality.
Yes. It's sort of like washing your glasses, getting rid of the fog.
Yes, yes.
You said something interesting in your talk earlier, Master, which was that this entire book could be distilled down to two basic ideas. One, you just said about the world is experienced as illusory, ever-changing, transient, and also that we are steeped, if I understood you correctly and remember, that we're steeped in confusion, ignorance, and aversion. As a result, we don't see clearly. If that's what the book is all about, what is the rest of it about?
他说，刚才师父说的两点，就是说，
知道，这个叫 rest。
就是说，如果这个
In other words, that may have been 2 pages. And so you've got quite a book here.
所有讲的就是那两点的话，那这本书的其他的这些部分到底讲什么？因为这本书当然这么厚。
其他的部分呢，就是告诉我们是怎么样子发现 了解这2点，还有呢，如何的呀，能够一个是这个知识上的了解认识啊，这个2点，还有呢，在实际上的体验上的、经验上的这个如何的体验到它，那都是一个过程或者是方法。
This book actually conveys not only these ideas which can be grasped intellectually, but it talks about the process of how a person arrive at such personal direct realization and the methodologies to accomplish this realization. So it talks about different approaches to realization and different methods that's possible when one engaged in practice.
比如说他讲的
For example, one of the approaches is cultivation of a very focused, concentrated mind, a one-pointedness of mind, which in Sanskrit is called samadhi. How does one cultivate samadhi? The different approaches the Buddha gave very detailed explanation, so as to serve as a sort of a stepping stone in arriving at wisdom, which is the lessening of one's self-attachment, self-centeredness, and thereby increasing one's selfless compassion and kindness to others, as well as unhindered intelligence.
还有呢，从不同的角度，因为不同的菩萨有12个，从不同的角度、不同的层次来请教释迦牟尼佛，如何的能够理解这2句话。比如说这个知幻即觉，这个离幻呢，知幻呢，就能够应该离幻，离幻即觉啊。这个2句话，实际上就是不是说一下子就能够达到这个目的的，还是要有一个过程，有不同的角度来达成同样一个目的。所以是经过12个菩萨不断地问，释迦牟尼佛就回答。
For example, so this book consists of 12 different enlightened beings asking questions to the Buddha on behalf of other people, other sentient beings, living beings. So they come at it from different angles, and their own practice are at different levels. So the Buddha dealt with these questions, very specific questions, and very clearly answered them, so that when we use different approaches, we can apply it in our lives.
Sure. Would you say that those 12 people, students, it's strikingly similar, of course, to the 12 disciples of Jesus from a larger perspective, anthropologically or mythologically, we could not help but notice the striking resemblance. Were those 12 also representing 12 different types of people, different levels, but even different types?
Different types.
Okay, very good. I have another question that has been with me for many years, and that is, I have thought about and have been striving for complete enlightenment for a long time. As soon as I heard the word, I felt there was something very much worth striving for and looking for. In my experience, I seem to hit different plateaus where I will have a certain level of awareness, mindfulness, and realization, and then almost like the water going out to low tide, it disappears. And then time will go on and it will come back. I will feel like a little Buddha, and then again gone. So when you speak, Master, of a complete enlightenment, are you referring to a level of transformation that occurs, that the tide does not recede back again and remains in a sense, permanently intact?
圆觉的意思就是说，就是师父的意思就是说，彻悟的意思，退转的意思，因为他自己的经验就是可以进退修持。
I'm the 13th lowest disciple.
这个开悟啊，这个 enlightenment， 它是有深有浅的。这一般的人凡夫啊，普通的人开悟，开悟以后还会退，还会失去，还会烦恼，还会起来。这个因为他们没有完成。但是呢，如果说是圆觉的话，所谓圆觉其实呢，就是指的佛的开悟，而不是那些菩萨们已经得到圆觉。这些菩萨们问如何的得到圆觉，因为菩萨们之间没得到圆觉，不过这些菩萨们都是大菩萨了已经，他们还有所不做，只有佛这是最高的。所以这一本经典是站在一个菩萨的立场来问佛，也就是站在弟子的立场来问佛，站在没有 complete enlightenment 的立场来问 complete enlightenment。
When we speak about enlightenment experiences, they are a wide range of levels, and we're talking about Buddhist enlightenment experiences. A person can have a very shallow enlightenment experience, an insight, and inevitably such experience will fade away and just remains as like a kind of memory. So it takes continuous practice, and this title, Complete Enlightenment, or this sutra, is actually not referring to just an ordinary enlightenment experience. It's actually referring to the state of Buddhahood. So the word complete enlightenment or perfect enlightenment refers to the state of Buddhahood, which is thorough, complete enlightenment that does not regress.
Yes, I see.
And through different approaches, this sutra talks about the different bodhisattvas or enlightened beings. At their different levels, from the perspective, from the stance of an ordinary people, asking the question how to reach such state.
还有这些菩萨们呢，这些菩萨们问的是从一个凡夫到成佛，这个怎么样子能够完成圆觉。
And also, one last point is that these 12 different enlightened beings asking different questions actually present 12 different stages from beginning to the end of complete enlightenment.
里面也有误解的就指出就是假的开悟，或者是呢，在这修行的过程之中发生一些病态的情况，它这里边也说明。
What is extremely important in this sutra is that it points out false enlightenment experiences that students may have, different illusory states, kind of altered states of mind that can be taken as enlightenment. So the Buddha points them out very clearly.
So it's interesting. How does one know at the end of the day, so to speak, if one's enlightenment, even after many years of practice, of quiet, because after all, the notion is that Buddhahood is inside us. And it's like, as it's always said classically, the sun in the sky is always shining, and all we need to do is dispel the clouds. So if that's the case, maybe enlightenment is closer at hand than we have any idea. If that's the case, at the end of years of practice, wouldn't it seem true that if a person recognized a level of enlightenment that they had, it was real? Are you with me?
他这个问题非常内行的，非常的内行。其实呢，当我们呢这个烦恼断尽，或者是烦恼不起，你就像天空中的云不见， 那就是看到太阳。太阳永远是在那地方，但是有云的时候就看不到太阳。云如果厚的话，那是黑的；如果云是薄的呢，还可以看到一些光。当这个一个凡夫来讲的话，一个光都看不到，这是黑的。那么如果是修行一个过程之中一个时间之后呢，有云，但是呢已经看到光了。可是呢，这是圆觉的话，那没有云了，只有太阳。
If there's even the slightest trace of afflictions, vexations, then one will know that the work is not done yet. And but in the course of practice, like as you said, dispelling the clouds, even though the clouds may not be dispelled, the light of the sun can shine through. You can see light, but if the clouds are
and feel heat,
the heat, but if the clouds are extremely dense, then all one sees is just darkness. So one may not have the experience of actually dispelling the clouds, but the clouds becomes thinner, almost like maybe perhaps like fog or mist. So even though the clouds are not dispelled, the light is showing. But one should try to dispel all traces of one's emotional afflictions, kind of defiled states of mind, so that all the clouds can be dispelled and the sun can shine fully. And this is a state where all possible traces or sort of propensities, habitual energy of vexations and afflictions are totally gone. That's the state of complete enlightenment.
Okay.
Thank you for your excellent and very rich questions.
Oh, shit. Thank you. Absolutely. My pleasure. I have so many more, like 10,000 creatures populating the planet.
I'm waiting for next time.
Yes, indeed. Okay, fine. Well, hopefully, will there be a next time?
Sure.
Okay, very good. I will come back,
Sure.
and we will continue.
I'm waiting for that.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Really a pleasure and truly an honor.
Thank you.
We have been speaking with Master Sheng-Yen, who is the author of this book, Complete Enlightenment, which is available at East-West bookstores, other spiritually oriented, esoterically oriented bookstores across the country, and even soon at Barnes & Noble. We've been celebrating and honoring the publication of this book after many of his books that have been published. This is the consummate one that he is most proud of at this point in time, at least so far. We thank you all once again for joining us here on A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin. Thanks so much for joining us. You can call me at 212-420-0800. I love hearing from you, sharing your thoughts and feelings with me, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.